Hello dear founder. Let's imagine that you need some help in software development. You found a trustworthy tech vendor. They are great guys and now you need to sign an agreement. But do you know what model of cooperation is the best for you? If you still have doubts about it, this video will help. Today we will discuss what models of cooperation exist in IT development, main differences between them, what risks exist in each model, and how to select the proper one for your product. My name is Nick, I am founder of software development company. Like, subscribe, let's go! Okay, what types of cooperation exist? First one, it's a fixed price, second one, it's a time and material, and that's it. I mean that all others such as dedicated team, milestone-based or cost fee descended from them. And main difference in responsibility, risk and money. Fixed price is when you sign an agreement for $1,000 and you should receive what you expect within this budget. It cannot be higher or lower. In time and material, your final price depends on specialist's hours, so it's possible to save some budget or to go beyond it. In previous video I used the analogy of house building process as an illustrative example. Let's do it again for clearer understanding. If you want to pay money and receive ready-to-use house without spending time to develop, it's fixed price. If you want to build everything by yourself and you need additional hands or expertise, it's time and material model. The main idea is next. In first scenario, responsibility of providing a house according to your expectation is on the vendor's shoulders. In second one, it's your problem. In fixed price, if painters made blue wall but this color not so blue as you expect, they should repaint it. And you shouldn't pay for this work, because this decision was made by vendor. But in time and material you should cover it, because you selected this color. They made everything according to your requirements, so if the wall looks terrible, it's not under their responsibility. One more time, if your application doesn't work properly and contains some bugs, delays or unusable design but you sign fixed price agreement, it should be complete without additional payments. If you work with time and material and your production failed because the developer had touched critical functionality without additional checks, you can fire him, but you should cover his work. The logical question appears in your head: why I shouldn't just start working with the company with a fixed price agreement? Well, you don't think that everything is so simple, right? There is a lot of pros and cons. The main is budget, deadlines, requirements and involvement. Let's go deeper in it. Regarding budget, the same scope of work via fixed price agreement can cost you 50% more than time and material. Why? Because provider should cover the risks that we mentioned before. He must spend additional time for communication and formatting agreements that this blue wall is exactly what you need. Or to hire additional resources, to reduce risks that something cannot be delivered in time. Yeah, that's why vendors should increase the final price. And there is one tricky moment. If you compare different proposals before starting project, make sure that it's estimated in the same model of cooperation. Because as you know now, it's influenced your wallet. The next point is timeline, and this is absolutely the same story as with the budget. If you have a strict deadline because you already invested 1 million in marketing and the user should receive ready-to-go product on the 4th of May, fixed price is your choice. But don't forget, there is the same story as with the budget. The vendor should increase the time of delivery to cover risks. So if you need this product for yesterday, time and material is much better. The next step is a scope of work. In a fixed price agreement, you cannot modify it during the development process. If you need some changes, firstly it should be developed and only then you can ask the vendor about some modifications. If you want to build some large system during the next 2 years, be ready that after release the system might be deprecated, because world may change or some new AI released. So you may face a situation when you even don't need a software anymore, but you should cover further development because you have a contract. With time and material you have more flexibility. You can suspend cooperation in 1 month or say the development team to rewrite some components. But don't forget other risks. For example, your vendor can replace a core developer. Such a decision can influence performance and you don't have the possibility to avoid it. The last thing is your engagement as a customer. In fixed price you only need to pay attention in the beginning, when you sign the contract, and in the end to check that you receive exactly what you need. You may also set up some breakpoints to receive an additional confidence that everything moves forward in the proper way. With time and material everything a little bit harder. You need to control a team as it's your employees. As a result, it will consume your time and energy for reviewing PR, sprints, stories and time tracking. Yes, you can hire a project manager to delegate this work, but you need to control him anyway. And remember, responsibility is still on your shoulders. So if your project went to the wrong direction because of a management mistake, yeah, it's still your problem because you didn't control that. And now I want to give you few tips about contract agreement. These points should protect you as a customer. Furthermore, it's a market benchmark. About fixed price, scope is clearly defined and understandable. Vendor should provide a development roadmap, architecture plan, prototypes and other materials. If your vendor agrees to start such cooperation without discovery phase, run from this. I am seriously, otherwise you will lose your money. Make sure that vendor will cover some support of application after release. There is a rule of 2 fixes. When you receive ready to use the application, you must recheck everything carefully, and if something worked not as expected, the provider should fix it for free. Then you should recheck these fixes. But if you find something after second recheck and it does not belong to the fixes that you mentioned before, vendor may charge you additionally. 50% of the payment should be upfront, 50% should be after release. You can negotiate it in other numbers. It depends on your project complexity. But remember that these conditions is quite common. If your system is too complicated, you can decompose it into milestones. But please check carefully that the release of new milestone doesn't break the functionality of the previous one. Because after you cover the milestone, everything starts being your responsibility. Price for investigation of existing project. If you have already something and you wanna start cooperation with a new vendor, they might charge you for the project investigation. They do it because it's a very time-consuming process. Okay, and now let's speak about time and material. Make sure that there is a trial period for the developer. For example, you may lay off him in 1 day during the first months of work. It will help you decrease the risk of hiring bad resources. Term notice period should be 1 month. Again, you can negotiate it and decrease it for 2 weeks or increase up to 3 months. In one hand, there is a risk the developer may leave you in a critical moment. On another one, you may have not enough scope of work, but you should pay. You cover only working hours. Responsibility of your vendor is to provide clear report. Don't give developers the possibility to cheat with you. You should give enough work for full-time engagement. And you must cover these hours, even if developer doesn't have enough tasks. If it's part-time engagement, agree with the vendor developer's availability time. The invoice period might be 2 weeks or 1 month. It should be covered within 10 days, and again you can negotiate it. The vendor can ask you about some prepayment when you start cooperation. I also advise you to agree on what payment method would be used. In conclusion, I want to share with you management triangle. It says that you cannot receive the product fast, cheap and with a good quality. You will be always somewhere in the middle. The same story with selecting a proper model of cooperation. You should find a balance exactly for your application. And I really hope that this video will help you with this. If you wanna add something to my words, feel free to share it in the comments below, so more good people can see this. It was your trustable Chief Executive Officer, we'll see you in next videos.